Blue and Books presents Future Widow, Losing My Husband, Saving My Family, and Finding My Voice. Written and read by Jenny Lisk. Chapter 1. The Day Life as I Knew It Ended. When you finally arrive home on a Friday evening, one kid in tow, the other successfully deposited with the Boy Scouts for the weekend, and your 40-something-year-old husband has a funny look on his face, your first thought is unlikely to be, this time next year, I'll be a widow, raising 2 grieving kids alone. At least, that certainly was not my first thought. After fighting the crosstown traffic characteristic of Seattle's suburbs, I got home one night to find Dennis sitting on the couch in our living room. He had a look on his face. I can't really describe it, except to say it was that look that said something was wrong. The sort of look you recognize after 16 years of marriage. I thought something had happened at work, or maybe something else had gone wrong that day. My read of his face was more pissed off than terminally ill. "What's up?" I asked, my measured tone belying my concern. "I've been feeling a little dizzy lately." I sat down on the couch and peppered him with questions. "What are you noticing? When did it start? How often are you feeling dizzy?" He described some slight and occasional dizziness over the previous few days. Nothing dramatic. No I can't stand up moments. No blacking out. Nothing that would ring alarm bells. Since it was after hours, going to see his regular doctor wasn't an option. Nothing about the situation suggested I needed to take him to the emergency room or even to urgent care. We decided that Dennis should call his doctor on Monday, and we talked about times when I could go in with him. Somehow my tagging along seemed like it could be important. Little did I know how true my hunch would prove to be. Within 2 weeks, I would become his full-time caregiver. After we established a plan for next steps, I went to get takeout. Being a Friday after a busy week of normal life with 8 and 10-year-old kids, and both of us working, we were ready to crash. When I came back 20 minutes later, I checked in. "How are you doing? How are you feeling?" My can-do approach had kicked in, and I wanted to know, had anything changed? Dennis turned to me and said, "I'm doing okay, but I've been a bit dizzy the past few days." I stopped. Something about the way he said it sounded like he thought he was imparting new information. I sized him up. Carefully, I said, "You just told me that." "I did?" "Yes, we were right there on the couch. We had a whole discussion about how you'd been feeling a bit dizzy at times, how you were going to call your doctor on Monday, what days I could come in with you. Then I went and got takeout. Now I'm back." I trailed off. "We did?" Shit, did he really not remember this discussion just 20 minutes prior? What is going on? Yes. Calm on the outside, totally perplexed inside. I spent the rest of the weekend observing the situation. Mostly, he seemed normal. Now I was second-guessing myself. Was I imagining things? Was I overreading the situation? What the hell is going on? Looking back, I think I knew on some level that something was very wrong. Megan's first communion was that weekend, and we had a lot to do to prepare. We planned to hold the brunch at my parents' house, even though they were out of town, because our kitchen was torn up with an unexpected remodel brought on by extensive water damage. On Saturday, I told Dennis to stay home and relax and keep Megan company, while I went to my parents' house to spend the day baking quiche and making the other necessary preparations. He was supposed to retrieve Peter from scout camp on Saturday evening, so he'd be there for the Sunday event, but I did that too. Somehow it didn't seem quite right to send Dennis on the hour-plus each direction drive that night. On Monday morning, Dennis went to work as usual. He called his doctor for an appointment, and he got one, 3 weeks out. I don't know what he told the scheduler that led to this far-off date being selected. I suspect he described feeling a bit dizzy. He may not have mentioned the confusion. Perhaps he didn't even remember it. That evening, he reported back that he'd made an appointment with the doctor. When he told me the date, my gut reaction was that he needed to be seen sooner. But still, he was mostly acting normal. I spent the next week constantly trying to assess. At what point do I need to intervene? At what point do I call the doctor myself and move up the appointment? Thus began 8 months of cancer, 8 months of caregiving, 8 months with more questions than answers. 8 months of hell. This has been Chapter 1 of Future Widow, Losing My Husband, Saving My Family, and Finding My Voice, written and read by Jenny Lisk.